Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Angela. And as promised a couple of videos ago, I decided to go ahead and do the past life spread that was in my Mariel Tarot. Past life spread, there's 5 questions. Looks like this, so I tried to do it a little bit like that. This is question 2, and 2 cards fell out, so I left them out. For my Mariel Tarot, and then I always do. I feel kind of weird already because I only have 2 tarot decks that I usually do past life spreads, and the Mariel is not one of them. As you know, I've barely used this deck since I got it this year. So this is going to be interesting. And then I always do, I have several Oracle decks that I use, and I kind of mix them up. I'm using the Past Life Oracle cards by Doreen Virtue and Brian L. Wise. Hay House publication. Carolyn Mist Archetype cards by Hay House. And then my Patrick Valencia Mildred Payne Secret Pocket Oracle. I always use a variation of these 3 decks. But I'm going to pull whatever I feel like pulling from those once we do the spread. I already have done a quick meditation, pulled the cards. I have not looked at them. So let's get on with it. So for question 1 in the Mariel Tarot, the Mariel Tarot, it's who were you? And it gives you a brief description in case you don't know. Who were you in a past life? I would specify that this is the most significant past life, the one that has the most bearing and effect on you, on who you are now and the life you have now. You could also specify the oldest or the most current. So that's quite interesting. So that's this card. Actually, this card. So let's flip that over and look. The Page of Swords. And yes, it's a nude woman on there, but I'm feeling a younger male energy from that. Interesting. There is a duality there. It's quite interesting that I immediately felt. Interesting. So question 2, what was your pleasure? What gave you the greatest pleasure in this life, or what was your greatest love and joy? And it dropped 2. I pulled the Fool and the 10 of Cups. And again, I get a male energy from those. Quite interesting. Look at these 10 of Cups. 10 of Cups has usually got a family, but this feels like a death card to me, almost. Like, I want to say an Undertaker. Quite interesting. And then maybe they were a fool. That's just a male energy I'm feeling there. I am feeling that for some reason this immediately made me think of Death and Undertaker. The 10 of Cups. Quite interesting. And then it's got it's weird because this is like a mother and child skeleton. So it almost feels like a familial card like a 10 of Cups would be. But I'm still feeling male from that. So, quite interesting. Card 3, what was your disappointment? What was your biggest disappointment? Your greatest fear or tragedy? This should be interesting. We got the Knight of Cups. Knight of Cups. This, I'm feeling a more feminine energy from this. So, and I almost want to say it was a male that maybe felt like they were really a female in a male body. That's the whole vibe I'm getting from this whole thing already. And then this is more, he's in armor. He's ready to fight, but at the same time, he's got this flower that's like bleeding. It's almost like bleeding. Maybe he's having the part of him that is more feminine is having to be suppressed, and that was kind of killing him in a way. Interesting. Quite interesting. And then number 5, card 5, advice. What would your past life like to tell you now in the present? What does it want you to pay attention to? Keep in mind, work toward a message from the past life. Temperance, balance. And that's the message I've been getting from quite a few of my, I've been getting that pretty much since I started my journey, tarot journey. Is the Temperance card to me is all about balance. Did I skip a card? Oh, I did skip a card. What was the past life? Oh, this was unfinished business. And again, I tie this into, this was the disappointment that maybe he couldn't bear children because he was a male. Female trapped in a male body is what I'm going to go with. And he couldn't have children because he was a male. And that was the greatest fear or tragedy right there. So I skipped. This was the unfinished business. What went unfinished in the past life that is affecting your life now? And again, I feel like there's this trappedness feeling in that card that he couldn't be who he was supposed to be. And I feel that same way now. So that's quite interesting. Sorry, I kind of scored that up a little bit because I skipped this one. Number 4. Oh, no, this is... Oh, my gosh. I'm getting confused. So this was unfinished business. Yeah. The baby was unfinished business that he never got to have a child. Because this was his fear. His biggest disappointment. The fear or tragedy. Being basically the wrong sex in the wrong body at the wrong time. So he couldn't, this was the unfinished business. He never was able to have kids. Interesting. And I have 3. So that is kind of unfinished business that I carried over. The disappointment that I carried over that I corrected right away because I had my first child at 19. And then what was the unfinished business? Unfinished in the past life that is affecting your life now is the same thing as affecting me now, as I feel there's times when I feel like I'm not being my true authentic self. And that's exactly what this card is telling me, what I feel like in that. Interesting. And then the Temperance card, of course, find your balance. Find that thing that lights you up and balances you out to where you're having a whole well-rounded life. Interesting. So let's pull a couple cards. I just want to pull a couple cards from my past life oracle deck here. And we're going to go back to card 2. What was my pleasure? This is the backs, by the way. It's gilded gold. What was the pleasure? Can you clarify the pleasure since there's 2 cards there? And I'm only getting, like, Undertaker vibes there. Like, that's all I'm getting. I'm not getting anything off the Fool except it's confirming for me that it was a male. And this even looks like a male here. Transportation. Interesting. Can you clarify the unfinished business for me? Can you clarify the unfinished business of this past life for me? Spiritual and religion. Interesting, because even now, people are frown upon the fact that if you say, hey, I'm really a male or female trapped in a male's body, they would even now persecute you. So I found that quite fitting for that card in that deck. That's interesting. And I'm going to pull from the Archetypes Carolyn Mist Archetypes cards. Just to any more information that we don't have already on this person from this life. Is there any other? These are a lot of cards in here. Sabacks. Any other? Oh, and it just. Haha! Look what just fell out. That's crazy. Crazy. Knight came out automatically. Knight, light attributes, loyalty, romance, and chivalry, a love of honor. And then the shadow attributes, allegiance to a destructive ruler or principle, romantic delusions. And again, I'm feeling that in this card that there was some kind of, maybe it's, yeah, I'm still getting a male. He was more feminine than he should have been. And I'm getting that from both of these cards. That's interesting. And then this one says advocate, light attribute, inspires you to put compassion into action. Shadow attribute, embracing negative causes or committing to causes for personal gain. Okay, so let's go one more from this deck. Anything else we can find? Anything else from this person? I got Rebel. And I kind of felt that too. Light attributes, challenges authority to effect social change, rejects spiritual systems, and again, bringing up the spirituality, that do not serve inner needs. Shadow attribute, rejects legitimate authority out of anger, rebels out of pure pressure or fashion. And I think I feel like there was some kind of rebellion there being had, but that's only because they weren't comfortable in their own skin. They weren't somebody that was, or I wasn't, somebody that was very connected to self. And again, I'm kind of having that same issue in this life. So that's quite interesting that Knight keeps popping up, and that was kind of unfinished business, or the advice is what keeps popping up for me in this spread. So that's interesting. And then we're going to just pull a couple more from my Mildred Payne Secret Pocket Oracle. Do we have any other information for this spread? Any other information for this spread? Got the broom. And I just heard sweep it under the rug. Wow. And then shell. I get that they swept the information under the rug because they didn't want anybody to find out that they were I don't even want to say gay. It's not like that they were gay. It was literally like they were a female trapped in a male's body. And they didn't want anybody to realize that because it wasn't the kind of times that you talked about this stuff. So, I mean, it in some ways it still isn't. But way back then, and I don't even know what time frame this is because that's the first time I've done a past life spread. I've not got a time frame. I don't feel like it was too long ago, but I'm not getting recent either. So that makes sense. But then the shell is just, they were a shell of who they were, who they could have been, because they chose to hide who they really were. Anything else for this spread, for this person? Volcano. And I feel like they could have been a very volatile person, because speaking as somebody that has been through this exact scenario, like I'm not a man trapped in a woman's body now. I'm very much the sex I'm supposed to be in this life. But speaking as somebody who's not always been their true authentic self. It can be very taxing. It can be very stressful, and stress leads to pissiness, for lack of a better word, pissiness and just anger. And then it turns into resentment, and that can be resenting yourself, resenting others, which at some point that volcano is going to erupt. So that's quite interesting. But yeah, that's all I keep getting though for this spread. That's quite interesting. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, don't hesitate to comment below. Anything that you've seen here, any other queries into this. If you want to do this spread, that's cool. It's in the back of the book of the Mariel Tarot. I thought they were cool questions. I may do that again with because I'm not quite comfortable with this deck yet. So that's interesting as well. That's telling in and of itself, this spread. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, don't hesitate to comment below. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. If you want to see more, please subscribe. And don't forget to hit that notification button so you're alerted to any future videos. And you guys have a good night. Bye.